Varbūt ir kādi jautājumi mums klātsošiem. Jā, ir divi tieši. Jūs pirmā un pēc tam jūs Ednieks.
Kāpēc jūs neaicinājāt pretinikus?
Es domāju, ka viņiem ir iespēja izteikties citos formātos.
Jo tās ir diskusija.
Šī ir forma, kurā bija aicināti pilnīgi visi. Mēs uztaisījām Facebookā, tas saucās events, notikums. Un jebkurš cilvēks, kas vēlējās, varēja ierasties. Mēs viņu speciāli promotējām Latvijas visiem Facebook lietotājiem. Visi Latvijas Facebook lietotāji saņēma ziņu, ka šis pasākums notiek. Caur to bija iespēja pieteikties.
Interesi nebija, ja?
Nē, kāpēc nebija? Ir atnākuši cilvēki. Es individuāli nevērstos pie Jāņa Iesalnieka, ko viņš par šo jautājumu domāja. Jā, lūdzu.
Imre, sorry, just want to ask you, because you've said that you've been threatened for your life when you had some accidents. Did you ever had a moment through this time when you thought, oh fuck it, oh sorry, you know, like I won't be going on with this, and you know, like my life is more important. How did you go through all this?
I never had that notion that my life is more important, I would give up. I definitely had moments when I felt that we cannot pull it through because there is not enough support, not enough people have the straight back and can push through. But actually what helped a lot, and I'm listening to the panelists here, and this is like a deja vu, all these questions were also on the parliament floor in Estonia. There was many asking, what about if three want to live together? What about if somebody wants to live together with a brother as cohabitation? What about a million questions? And what is the most important thing throughout this discussion was all these debates. They took down also many fears, and many of these questions were solved by asking the questions. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we are afraid to ask the question because we don't know what's coming, so better not open the Pandora's box. But through this debate, it actually, I think, made society in Estonia healthier. It made society stronger. And so many people who directly are not involved in that, they also, all of a sudden also thought, yes, we have something to say because it concerns the whole society. So I'm really happy to hear that people are speaking the same language here, like our opinion leaders, our professors who stood up, not for their own interest, that their own life was in danger, but society as a whole was in danger, because if these notions get stronger and we're living under the fear, then we're living back in a different society where we're coming from. That was a society of fear. We should not be afraid of asking these questions, and we should be also able to stand up for the others, and this is a perfect moment for that. And the main thing was actually it was opponents tried to paint it as a gay issue, and it is not a gay issue. We have 170,000 couples living together. According to the statistics, Estonia, only 300 people of this 170,000 are homosexual. All the others are just normal couples living with their children. They don't want to get married because marriage as an institution has maybe lived its life, and we are living. It's coming very strongly from the church background and has these notions. And people nowadays want to live their life a little bit more modern, more free, more at the same time very much committed to each other. So the definition of family has changed so much over the years, and we have to just accept it. It is not something that we have to mourn something from the past. The family lives on. Just the models of family have changed, and our notions about family have changed. And this is what comes out also from these discussions, that we should be more open to different kind of definition of the family, and just accept it. It's there anyway, we cannot ignore it.
Thank you. Paldies. Vai vēl kādi jautājumi? Jā.
Imre, did you have your own interest in this new law?
Absolutely, I had no interest, and I was asked, are you going to, do you want to get, are you going to be the first person who will go to the notary and sign the Cohabitation Act? No, I'm not. Also they ask all kinds of questions, who am I? And I've been very open. I've never been in the closet. I don't consider myself homosexual. I don't consider myself heterosexual. I don't consider myself bisexual. So who are you? I'm just a human being. I'm just sexual like everybody else. Why should we paint pictures? Why should we label every box? I had a very happy marriage with my wife for 3.5 years, but that shouldn't exclude me of anything else I want to do. I want to be free in my mind. And if I'm committed to the person, then I'm committed to this person of my choice. Why should it be labeled and put into 3 boxes and called names? We should be. I completely refuse to be put in the boxes and, oh, that's where you are because you belong there. No, I think we should be much more open. And therefore, if you start to look at it from that point of view, then at the end it really doesn't matter. As long as this law gives you a possibility for security, basic human rights, and what we all long for is security, that if one day everything is fine, if 2 people come together and life is beautiful, but we never want to think about what may happen one day. Can be an accident, can be distorted relations, whatever. Something that is beyond our control. For these moments is this law, for nothing else. When something happens, like insurance policy, that's what originally the marriage is all about. It's an insurance policy. If something happens, that you are protected, that the person you love is protected, your children are protected, your future is protected. We all are longing for security in life. We want to feel that tomorrow is also a sunny day and we don't have to be worried. That's what it's all about.
Paldies! Tagad ir, tā kā es neredzu aktīvus jautājumus, varbūt ir kāds, kas vēlās ko izteikties klāt, kādu viedokli. Vladan.
Sorry, can I ask a question? Hello, my name is Vladan. I'm here as the member of, also the member of the Alliance of Liberal Democrats for Europe, and also as a student of the European Studies here at the University of Latvia. I'm just wondering, since you actually made this law to come through, and it's a very impressive story behind it, do you maybe see it as a bridge for a, let's say, future development? I mean, as a liberal, this should always be like more progressive, more open-minded, try to go even further with something. Do you see Estonia, let's say in 5 to 10 years, where also people of, who are LGBT, from the LGBT population could have adopted children and also have like marriage as heterosexual couples?
I think one step at a time. The worst thing in this kind of debate or discussion, also in your country, is to rush ahead. I mean, for some people, the marriage, the institution of marriage is so holy that if you start to attack them, then they feel threatened and then all the fears come out. So I say that let the society choose its own path, how it's going. I'm not going to say if in Estonia one day will be gay marriage or not. I think at the moment it's not also important. There is not one member of parliament in Estonia who wants gay marriage. Let's do gay marriage. It's not important. Important is to have a basic rights, protection of our families, our children. It's protection and the security. That's what we want. That creates a secure society. If it leads to other things in the future, let the parliaments in the future decide that. Let it be up to the discussion then. How open is the society and how open does it have to be? We chose the way. We had many different ways to choose, but I just give you 2 interesting facts. There's different models in every European country, as you know, has a different model. We chose the way which has been adopted in Belgium, Holland, Luxembourg, and France, which means the cohabitation, or whatever you call it, civil partnership act for everybody who wants it, meaning also heterosexual couple, everybody. So kind of alternative if you don't want to get married, or if you can't get married because you're legal in your country, you can't. And interesting is in all these countries, the ones who chose that first were exactly the people, as we heard before, that they are living together, but they never wanted to get married. They didn't think that marriage was important, but they want to have the security of the future. So this was, in these countries, 90% of the people are not homosexual couples, but heterosexual couples who chose that. And this is number one. And the second thing is, if you were asking about gay marriage, then look at the societies in Europe, where at the moment, gay marriage is allowed. And strangely enough, they are the most conservative royal countries, all kingdoms. Kingdom where the family status stems from the kings and their family trees. The Sweden, the Denmark, Holland, yes, all are kingdoms. So all the countries that today have gay marriage are kingdoms. I mean, maybe that shows something for the future.
Yes, I'm from Sweden, so I know it. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to build on your comment. 35 years ago, in most of Western Europe, your question would have been as unthinkable as it may seem today in Riga. And it's actually by dialogue that, the laws and attitudes have evolved. And it's important to change attitudes as much as changing the laws. The question is, of course, which comes first, that we can debate. If you look at North America today, even some of the most absolutely reactionary states of the United States of America are slowly but surely moving towards gay marriage in spite of very heavy opposition, in spite of very hot dialogue, and sooner or later it's going to happen here too.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask if do you have any statistics as for now? How is Latvian Parliament would vote for any kind of legal law right now? How would it be used?
A very, very tricky question. First of all, it was very inspiring to hear from Imre today how it happened in Estonian Parliament. And when you asked me this question 2 months ago, I would say maybe I get 7 or 8 votes for that proposal. But knowing that also how the politics always evolve, I actually believe that this number actually will increase over time, not decrease, even not taking into account elections. The people will, at some point, and it's more and more the case in Latvia, understand that this is not a question of some unknown people that we do not know, and we will not know, and we don't care about them. That's actually a question of us. And at some point, this is, as Mats Sauzic said, this is an overall picture. At some point, you show your true colors, and it will come to that. And I'm pretty sure maybe not in this year, but in some years we will get a majority in Latvian Parliament who will support this initiative. I'm actually completely sure that it will happen. Thank you. Jā, Kristīna.
Jā, es pārstāvu biedrību Mozaika, es gribēju pateikt paldies par šo diskusiju. Un šeit vienkārši pacēlās jautājums par to, kas tad nāk pirmais, šī sabiedrības attieksmes maiņa vai likumi, kuram tad jānāk pirmam. Tad es domāju, ka likums ir viens no rīkiem, kā tad šo sabiedrību mainīt, un politiķis nav tikai, politiķis ir arī līderis, viņš ne tikai seko pūlim, ko pūlis grib, bet viņš arī tā kā vada valstis kaut kādā pārmaiņā, tāpēc es domāju, ka ir svarīgi, ka ir šī debate un sāks vismaz debate, jo savādāk, kā tad sabiedrības viedoklis mainīsies, ja mēs dzirdam tur, ja pati valsts uzskata, ka šis nav nepieciešams, tad mūsu cilvēki, lai gan viņi lamā valdību un tā tālāk, bet autoritāte pret valstu un likumiem tomēr tā kā ir. Un ja nav šādu likumu un arī valsts saka, ka tas nav vajadzīgs, tad arī sabiedrība, protams, domā, ka tas nav vajadzīgs. Un ja mēs dzirdam, ka mūsu tieslietu ministrs nievājoši par to izsakās, tad arī, protams, sabiedrībai nav iemeslu sākt tagad mainīties un domāt, ka viss ok, ja arī valsts un amatpersonas tā domā, tad tā viss ir kārtībā. Tāpēc es domāju, ka šis likums ir viens no rīkiem, kā šo sabiedrību mainīt. Pat tikai caur diskusiju tikai sākot. Tad pēc tam, protams, ir arī paši likumi.
Kā slikts moderators, es šajā brīdī nozakšu un pateikšu vienu teikumu. 4. maijā mūsu neatkarības svinībās Latvijas televīzija rādīja, es nebiju redzējis šo dokumentālo filmu par uzreiz pēc aiziešanas no amata par Vaidlītu Freibergu. Un es tagad nenosaukšu nosaukumu uzreiz no galvas par nosaukumā bija Saule, jā, kā jau diezgan dabiski mūsu eksprezidentē. Bet tās filmas kontekstā man bija viena milzīga pārdoma pēc tam 40 minūtēm, ko es skatījos šo filmu. Ziniet, es esmu reāli noguris no tā, ka mums politikā cilvēki ka mums politikā tikai seko. Un vairs neviens negrib nekur neko vest. Tā milzīga atšķirība, ko rādīja to periodu prezidentūšu laiku vairāk Viļa Freberēm, ka viņa ka politiķis var vest sabiedrību uz kaut ko labāku. Es ceru, ka tas mums arī kādreiz būs ielikt.
Jā, un šeit es gribētu arī piebilst, ka pagājušā gadā taču bija sabiedriskās aptājas, kas par to, kā cilvēki uztver faktisko kopdzīvi, un ap 70% viņiem tas liekas, kā pozitīvi. Un sabiedrība tam ir gatava vienkārši tās konstrukcijas, kas šobrīd tiek spriedalētas un veidotas lēmumu pieņēmējiem valdībā un saimā, un arī līdzīgas organizācijas tā kā Igaunijā, kas mēģina aizsargāt kaut ko mēs īsti nesaprotam, ko viņi grib aizsargāt. Un principā, ka mēs redzam ļoti skaidri, ka viņi tā kā vēršās pret pamat cilvēktiesībām, kā faktu, tā kā sabiedrība pēc būtības ikdienā ar saviem dzīves modeļiem jau parāda, ka viņi ir gatavi. Jautājums ir par to, kāpēc likums un kāpēc lēmumu pieņēmēji negrib to redzēt un negrib tā kā to risināt un pieņemt.
Jums bija kaut kāds komentārs vai jautājums?
Es būšu vienīgais, kas ir pret šo, bet daļai es piekrītu šādam likuma grozījumiem tieši uz to daļu, kas attiektos uz tradicionālu ģimeni, jo tā ir vienīgā forma, valsts aizstāv tradicionālu ģimeni, un tā ir vienīgā savienība, kurā var rasties pēcnācēji. Tas būs tā pirmā doma. Un tad mums arī būtu tradicionāli ģimenes robežās atbalstām. Un tā otra doma, kas man liekas, kas ir svarīgi, par ko ļoti nepopulāri runāt, ir, kad šobrīd izvēlās patērēt arī otru cilvēku. Un neuzņemties saistības. Ja cilvēks nolēma doties laulībā, viņš uzņemās saistības. Baznīcā tas ir mūžu galam un tā, bet...
Ienešķi,
jā. Bet kas man šobrīd par vairāk būtu jārunā tieši par attiecību, saistību uzņemšanos, ka tas nav tikai kaut kāds izlaistīts iegūms, bet tev ir jādara kaut kas.
Paldies par jūsu viedokli. Es patiesībā gribu vērst uz uzmanību, ka mūsu likumprojekta jēga patiesībā ir tieši par to, uz ko es aicinātu. Tas ir par dot iespēju cilvēkiem uzņemties saistības tā, kā viņi izvēlas to visefektīvāk darīt. Mēs, protams, varam teikt, ka, ja kāda institūcija ir pastāvējusi daudzus gadus, tad tai pašai par sevi vērtību. Tur ir zināma loģika arī tajā, bet acīm redzot mūsu sabiedrība, un jūs droši vien arī pazīstat pietiekami daudz. Es personīgi, manā ģimenē ir cilvēki, kas dzīvo kopā vairākus 10 gadu, nelaulāti, kopā audzina bērnus. Un es neuzskatu, ka viņi savā starpā ir uzņēmušies mazākas saistības kā, piemēram, es, kas ir laulāts un arī kopā ar savu sievu audzina bērns.
Tieši šajā ziņā es piekrītu.
Jā, un arī
viņus no valsts puses atbalstīt, bet tas ir no tādas savienības, kas spēj radīt pēcnācēju.
Es gribu teikt, ka šeit droši vien mūsu viedoklis atšķirsies. Pirmkārtām arī viendzimumu ģimenēs Latvijā aug bērni un augs bērni. Un jūs ziniet, tajā ziņā cilvēks progresē nepārtraukti savā zināšanās, iespējās un pieejās. Nav vajadzīgs vīriešu un sievietes dzimumaks, lai dzimtu bērns. Nav vajadzīgs vīriešu un sievietes dzimumaks, lai piedzimtu bērns. Tas jau kādu laiku nav nepieciešams. Paldies, Vairāk.
Es gribētu jūs aicināt padomāt par vienu ļoti interesantu situāciju, par kur es vienkārši dzirdēju pēc Zolitūnas traģēdijas. Proti bija ģimene, bija 2 cilvēki, vīrietis un sieviete, kas dzīvoja kopā. abi divi šķīrušies, abi divi ar bērniem. Un viens no laulātājiem, viens no šiem diviem, kas dzīvoja kopā, nomira traģēdijas ietvaros. Un tad izcēlās liela problemātika par to, kas tagad par kuriem bērniem atbild. Jo viena, ja es pareizi atceros, tam vīram vēl bija divas dažādas bērnu mātes, un tur ir 6 bērni viss kopā. Kas tur viss?
3 bērni.
Nebija.
3.
Nē.
2 vienu vienā.
Jūs zināt to gadījumu, jā. Un tad, ziniet, tāpēc es saku, kas ir svarīgi tādā kopdzīves likuma pieņemšanā, tas palīdz it īpaši tad, kad tu nerēķinies ar problēmām. Un šī bija problēma, kas pēkšņi radās. Un nevarēja viegli pierādīt, kur ir ģimene un kur nav ģimene. Un tad, protams, strīdās par naudu, par atbildību, par pēctecību, par izglītību un tā tālāk un tā tālāk. Un tam nav absolūti nekāda sakara, piemēram, ar vienzimumu attiecību pieregistrēšanu vai nē. Mans viedoklis ir viennozīmīgi, ka vajag šādu likumu visiem.
Tradicionālā tajās robežās tas ir ļoti atbalstām un pat nepieciešams.
Paldies! Vai ir vēl kāds, kas... Ja es neredzu, tad paldies visiem diskutantiem. Es noslēgšu teikumu ar vienu teikumu, ko es... then I give you Imre, because I need to make a last sentence.
Yes, after me, I wanted to say thank you for inviting me here. I am glad to see that you have a debate growing in Latvia. It's very healthy, this debate. I want to just underline one of the things that I heard here amongst the panel today and which we have used a lot in our debate in the parliament too. This kind of bill doesn't take anything away from anybody. It doesn't make nobody's life worse, but makes some people's life so much more happier and secure. And that is the main thing about this law. It doesn't prohibit anything, but allows people to do what they want to be happy. So let them be happy, that's all.
Paldies visiem klātesošiem. Es pagājušā nedēļa sestdien biju Oslo un pēc skaitā piedalījos diskusijā, kur organizēja Eiropas liberālais fórums. Un paneļa noslēgumā paneļa moderators teica, viņš teica, neiecietība ir tikpat dabiska kā mēris. Iecietība ir milzīgs kultūras sasniegums. Turēsimies pie gaismas, nevis pie tumsas. Paldies!